It's the combination of DOD Network and One Black Man Talk. It's the amazing, no, I shouldn't say amazing, I say remarkable Renee Ambush and Mark Elliott. How are you, Renee?
I am spec fabulous. I told you, Mark. Webster's ain't got nothing on me. I will create a word in a minute.
Yeah, I hear you. You're right. You put some good words together, so you might have nothing on you. It's funny with the invention of smart telephones, it seemed like Webster kind of went out of business. I'm sure they're still around.
Yes. I don't think so either. And listen, the good thing to that is it allows individuals to be creative, but the bad thing is we come up with some words that mean absolutely nothing but carry so much weight in the slang and in our generational era that it's just like, nah, let's stop with some of those words. Let's at least attribute some positive, impactful meanings to them and not have some crazy stuff out there.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. This is no topic left behind. I always will say this because it's the truth. This is Renee Ambush Baby. This is her
Yes.
idea, what she basically gave birth to, and I'm just happy to be part of it. Basically, we take topics and we go behind them. She gives her side, I give my side, and we basically have fun. It's good conversation. And more than having fun, we say some things that I really believe that needs to be put out there. We don't shy away from
Yes.
anything that needs to be said. We're not afraid to say certain things. And that's real, true conversation.
Yes, absolutely. And that's exactly what it's about because, Mark, we're having all this conversation, but how is it really impacting us? How is it really propelling us to do better or be better? We having all this jargon, but what is it doing? I know for a fact that what we're doing is reaching, touching, impacting people, and even changing perspectives on people's thought process to be like, you know what? I needed that conversation. So, I am so grateful to have you along as my co-host, and we just rocking this thing.
That we are. That we are. This topic that we're going to basically go behind this time, it's interesting because I look at it realistically. It changes over the years. It kind of moves around. It starts out one way. But dating, simple dating. And you sent me a video earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you want to speak about the woman that was in it, but if you choose to, you can. And she was speaking how I'll actually, you know what, I'll pull back and you fill us in, please.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So, Mark, it's really good that I pull these reels from off of social media because that's how we're living right now. We're living through a lot of social media education and or nonsense, right? So, because we're tuned into it, I don't mind sharing exactly what these reels are because people are seeing they're generating over and over. So people are watching these reels. And what it was, it was something on social media. I want to say Instagram, and it was Tisha Campbell talking about dating, and she was kind of expressing that she's never dated. That and I don't want to put words in her mouth, but that she pretty much was with a man and then they liked each other and they was together, and so that she never really experienced dating. And you said this a little earlier. You were like, Renee, I think that's kind of dear to you. Kind of is because I'm what 4 months shy of double nickels, and I really had to sit back and look at what is dating. Now, I told you before, I don't think that there should be like a 12 step to dating, a 13 step, or anything like that. But just putting this conversation out there to say what is dating, or and everybody has their own perspective per se. So we're going to kind of share ours.
Okay. It's interesting to me to say that I never really been dating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you've been with the opposite sex. You two got together, you went out and realistically probably had intercourse
Mm-hmm.
more times than likely. But at this stage in your life, you say I never been dating. Then what were you doing? Realistically, what were you doing? If you're not understanding what you're doing, what are you actually doing? So I want to go back to the word dating itself.
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, when she says or you says, I don't know, understand about dating. I think you have to go back to the premise and the foundation of dating.
I think so
And
too.
yes, and I don't think a lot of us truly understand this. I think, let me say this, I think men grasp this better than women.
Mm,
I'm going to say
mm.
that. And when you think about dating, for the most part, dating is going out with someone who is romantically or sexually interested.
And I, you know what? And I put that in there. I would put that in my definition of dating. But here is the big word that I like to put in dating. It's the process. And see, I think when Tisha was talking about she never dated, she never took a process, right? Of spending time with somebody you're romantically getting to know. And see, to see if you're compatible. And a lot of times, and that's why, to be truthful, there are also like, if we break it down a little further, there's like types of dating. You've got casual dating, serious dating, exclusive dating, online dating, faith based dating. That's why we have these things called situationships because people are not really understanding the process of dating and then they find themselves in situationships.
Okay. Let's look at the two genders, male and
Hmm.
female.
Hmm.
To me, at the start of the gate of dating, they're dating for different reasons.
Yeah.
They really are. Just like you said, you're getting to, a woman's perspective, she's getting to know him. She's probably seeing if he's a possible, candidate or someone that she wants to spend time with, possibly marry.
Hmm.
As men, we don't look at it that way.
So wait, so men don't vet women?
We don't know. Basically, men being the visual creatures that we are, we tend to go off the visualness first. And
Hmm.
as we start to spend time with you, the vetting will start to basically take place. And we'll start to think, is this person someone I really truly want to spend a lot of time with and go further with?
Hmm.
So we're starting at the starting gate differently, where, she's thinking this and he's thinking that. And ironically, most men know you're thinking you want to be married and you're all that. They know that when they start up with the dating process. Women
So
don't
let
think.
me ask you a question. I was going to say, so and I know we don't speak in absolutes. Do you think that men go into this too already knowing and deciding, hey, this is the person I know, like this energy, even before we kind of get deeper into this, I have made up my mind. I want this person to be my partner.
I'll say this: the majority of men know.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
there's some men may come across a woman and just feel immediately that she possessed something that they want to have to
Hmm.
themselves. I'm
Hmm.
not saying that doesn't exist, but the majority of men don't approach it that way. We just don't. And that's the realism.
Hmm.
So basically, when she's coming to the dating process and, the flattering and you're going out to the restaurant, you're setting that up, his mind is not necessarily there. So he's on level, let's say a B, she's on A, and they're basically coming to the restaurant with different intentions.
Okay.
Because I would assume so, and I'm not even gonna say assume and take that out. Tell me what happens, you're a woman, when a man basically approaches you and says, I would like to take you out. What goes through your mind?
Well, what you said is something. First, you said, like you were saying about the attraction. I think that isn't exclusive to a male or female because being a female, when a guy approaches me and say they want to take me out, I am initially, because I don't know them from Adam, I am initially going, am I attracted to this person? Do I want to spend time with this person? Are they in a do they do something for me physically that I want to spend time with? Now that can be shallow, or the fact of the matter is, you decide you already like what you like, right? So that may change once you get to know the person. But if somebody comes up to me and was like, hey, I would like to take you on a date. First, for me, I'm looking at the physical appearance too, and this is, like I said, I can't preface this enough by saying it's me. I'm looking at the attire. Is it clean? It doesn't necessarily have to be um name brand, but for me it has to be stylish. Are the nails clean? Looking at the teeth and the hygiene. These are things, and I'm looking at when you're first approaching me, asking me if you want to go out on a date. So that's my first thought. Then I'm going to take time for me, just a little bit of conversation, to go, do I want to further time with this individual on a date? So I'm upfront. I'm gonna tell you right then and there, because the maybe 5 or 10 minutes that we spent together, I'm gonna go, yep, I'm gonna go ahead and take that offer, accept that offer, or nope, I'm not interested. That's me first thought.
Okay. So basically, the physical part is important to you first, the first impression.
Yes, the physical part does have importance for me, absolutely.
Now, the physical part plays a part in the first impression because is your mind thinking about potential sex? or you just want to be around someone that you're attracted to?
I want to be around somebody I'm attracted to.
Okay, so at what point in your mind, as we roll through this little scenario, just right there between the first 10 minutes, does sex go into your mind at all?
See, now you know I'm a little different, Mark, right? But I say this about women as well, right? Just give me a second. Like, men sometimes think that they coerce women into maybe wanting to have sex. We as women show up already deciding whether we want to have sex with you or not. So it really, if you, it's really not up to like if the guy is, yeah, I got game, I'm gonna get it. Nope, she's already come deciding whether she wants to have sex with you or not. And
Absolutely.
and because I am, and I think we spoke about this, I'm a sapiosexual. Nope, the intellect is I'm already having some kind of intercourse with you verbally or intellectually. So I'm not thinking about the physical. I'm thinking, can this person hold a conversation with me? Because if they can, then like I said, we can further. But if you're already surface level for me and you're saying things like, oh, your lips this and your hips that and this, oh, and I got this much money, you've already turned me off. So we're not having conversations. So I personally am not going in thinking about, do I want to have sex with this person? However, I'm not saying that women don't decide, like you said, since we already make that decision beforehand, there are some women who show up, and that is like that's their whole intent. Like, I don't even know if I want to get to know him. If I care to know him, he fine, and I want to jump in the bed with him.
Okay. Here again, I'm going to keep it focused to the first 10 minutes of just talking to him.
Hmm.
And, here's the difference. Those first 10 minutes, yeah, he's trying to get to know you a little bit, but he's made up in his mind already he wants to have sex with you.
See, and that's the different thing, like you were saying, like with the gender and the whole dating thing. It's like, again, with it being a process, in his first processing, like you said, he may be thinking, you know what? I just want to sleep with this person. Like she fine, she looks good, she can hold a sentence. Yep, I think I want to be with her.
Now, here's the question from that.
Hmm.
Knowing that, I'm assuming most women know this, but I'm asking you the question.
Hmm.
Knowing that's where you're coming from in the first 10 minutes, that doesn't turn you off?
Well, it does turn me off, like I said, depending upon the approach. And like I said, so if it's all talking about the only exterior and the physical and, oh, this is what I see and this, that, and another, it's a turn off for me. I don't find that to be attractive because, again, you're not stimulating anything but something physical, and any rabbit can jump in a hole. So that doesn't do anything for me personally. I can't say that for all women, but no, that's totally unattractive for me.
Okay. Here's what I find to be a little interesting, because here again, dating is basically the romantic, it's the sexual for the
Hmm.
most part. So if that's what it is, even once within the first 5-10 minutes, if he's basically stimulating your interest,
Hmm.
now then there's a thought process. You're open to have sex with the person, correct?
Well, I mean, again, I don't know, Mark. It's just that's just not my stilo. Like that just isn't for me. Now, is it on the table? Of course it's probably on the table for some. You
But
know what I
that's
mean?
but so that's why I keep hearing this, because
Hmm.
you're saying it's not your stilo. And I've always said this, you got to know the animal that you're up against.
Hmm.
That's not your stilo, but that's his. That's his.
Okay. Okay.
So if you're walking into that and not understanding that's his, you're going on your own what you're trying to achieve. As I said earlier, what you're trying to find out, you're trying to basically learn who this person is. Realistically, he may have no interest trying to learn who you are.
Hmm.
He may not. He may sell it to you that he is, but in reality, that's he may not have. Now, so this is where we get, to me, dating confused.
Yes. No, I'm so glad you said that, because I was like, thus our conversation and reason for dating. Because like you said, if you are going into it and only having your own personal perspective and your mindset about what dating is, then it goes back to Tisha. Like, you're right, have you dated or not? Because if you going in with your own mindset but not really looking at what dating is or understanding what dating is, have you really dated?
Well, my thing about her, when she says she hasn't dated, again, what was she doing? If what the person just said, walked up to her, basically grabbed her by the hair and said, "Just come with me," and
And
she
so that
spent
sounds
time.
like some caveman stuff.
But I
No.
mean, and did she spend time with her? I mean, realistically, that's the thing. Now, here's where again, why I say it gets to be confusing,
Hmm.
and we don't say this in our current day of how we date, and it's been, forgotten about a long time. But there's a difference between dating and courting.
Come on. Okay. Break that down, Mark.
Now, courting is basically when couples try to get to know each other for the basically of spending time with each other or
Hmm.
potentially marrying.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, what I'm really saying here is that we are basically dating and basically blending courting into it and hoping that it works out. In
Hmm.
reality is we know this person has a sexual interest in us. So a
Mm.
lot of times what we're going to do is basically string it out a while to see if he's worthy of me being with him sexually. But we
Wow.
know from the beginning, we know from the start, that's where he's coming from. The flowers, the candies, and all that just ain't because he wants to basically see a smile on your face. But in reality, she's thinking in courting process, not dating. So to me, again, when Tisha Campbell says, I didn't really date, then what were you doing, Tisha? Were you just, when he walked up to you and said whatever, you just went along with him? What was your goal? What was your purpose of being with him? So to me, and this is my speak, you
Hmm.
can't be that, dizzy. You just can't be, but maybe you are. Because that's what that sounds like to me.
And see, and you know what? I think I'm listening with a different ear, and maybe it could be for two reasons. Well, three. Maybe because I'm a female and I see it from a female's perspective to a point, and then also because I'm a therapist, I see it from a psychological point, and then from my own experiences. And so I think that when we are talking about this process, because that's why I made it kind of big about the word process. When we're talking about the process of dating, that means it also in details the process of knowing ourselves, of understanding who we are and what we want. Which you said that to a point, understanding that people are going in knowing what they want. So not so much as necessarily for me, just my perspective, not seeing her as dizzy, but seeing her as a person who is, and we talked about this a little bit, unlearned in what dating is and is for. And like you said, understanding going in, are you dating to court? Because that's a part of the process. Courting is the next step to dating. And like you said, that in process is for, a committed, exclusive or marriage relationship. So when she said, I've never dated, she missed that process. I keep saying that word because that's important. She missed the process of dating and went straight to courting and or straight to the relationship. And that comes in many forms though, because when a person does that, we're looking at some of, or we would want to look at, where are they emotionally, as far as emotional development, where are they in their understanding of self-awareness, what have they had a void in, that they can skip processes to get to the end. And I'm whether it's sex or the goal is marriage, and we talked about that a little bit, that some women go straight to the dating, missing the courting, but already going in determining, I want to be married.
Now, here's what I'm thinking.
Hmm.
When I hear her go, I never really dated before.
Hmm.
Could it be that she was so caught up that someone was paying her attention, was offered to pay her attention, to realistically, she just went along and not know what was going on? Because I find it hard, and you're a therapist, and therapist has a way of basically taking everything and cutting it out and showing you basically, excuse me, where it can kind of come from. And I understand that. But let's be real about this. Amazing. I'm scared. Amazing. Remarkable. She's a grown woman. And
But
see,
let me ask you a question.
no,
Wait, let me
hang
ask
on
you,
one second.
what
Hang on one
makes her
second. No,
grown?
baby, hang on a second. I mean to say baby. Let's say this. She's a grown woman. Here's the thing.
Hmm.
When you're mature and grown, these things you're expected to know.
Mm.
It just you can't walk in maturity and then go, I didn't know this. I didn't know. That's what maturity is. That's what being an adult is. In
Mm.
reality, we always, when people act like they don't know, we want to. So, are you mature or you're not? Because you can't be a woman of maturity and walk around going, I didn't know I was dating. And that's when I say it sounds dingy because either you are mature or you're not. So
So
you
what
can.
makes her mature? What makes a person mature?
Understanding when you're an adult, you do adult certain things. Dating is
Mm.
basically things that adults do. Sex is things that basically adults do. When I say maturity when dating, you should understand if someone approached her and wanted to spend time with her, she should stand back and evaluate, like you said, do I want to spend time with this person? Do I want to get to know this person? Not that I just went along and I wasn't dating. It's not that he kidnapped her. So where was her
So,
mindset? Where was her thought process?
so
But
let me
see,
say this. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
but the thing is, when we hear people say things like that, we want to rush in. We want to play therapist, and I know you are. We want to rush in well because of this. How about being mature? How about simply just being mature? How about that? And look at it from a mature standpoint. Because I don't think the average teenager, you get a smart teenager, is just going to roll out and go, well, I never dated before. They go on dates and understand what dates are. So, I mean, that's just, to me, the reality.
Okay, I hear you. And see, one of the things I think that we misconstrue is what uh maturity or adulthood is. First and foremost, we know that candles don't make an adult, right? So, being able to make effective decisions as an adult, be able to be the ability to be accountable and responsible makes for an adult. It makes for
Oh,
maturity. Wait, wait, wait. But
oh,
the thing about it is, and we talked about this a little earlier, that sometimes people are either given misinformation, they're misinformed, or they're ill informed, and then they actually become certain numbers, and people are left to assume that they should know the right thing, but nobody's taught them the right thing. Hold on for a second. So, speaking about dating, when my daughter was about, I want to say about 10, she wanted to have a boyfriend, and I was like, well, what is having a boyfriend like? And she was like, well, I like him and he likes me and he's nice to me. And that was good. It wasn't anything wrong with that. But what I did at that time was begin to tell her things to expect or to bring to a date, right? So, in understanding, I broke down, I talked about those different types of dating. And so, when you're younger, and that could be young in age or young in emotional or maturity or immaturity, you may be casual dating, just kind of like talking to somebody, interacting, just, but you're not looking for any commitment, you're not looking to do anything serious, and that's dating. You're going out with somebody, you having fun or whatever. And so my thing is, if nobody teaches somebody something, and I know we talk about that, if no one teaches you a proper way, then you will continue to navigate whatever way it is by scraping and scratching with your little to no understanding on how to do it. And then you become an adult and go, everybody's looking at you like, well, you grown, you 40, 50, 60 years old. Why you didn't know that? Well, because either I didn't know, and I know we talk about that, I didn't know, or someone taught me by their indirect or direct behaviors, and that's what I know. We don't know what Tisha's mom and dad did. Maybe that was something that was generational. Maybe the women in her family got men or got attention by men, they liked them and they got married. So she repeated what she saw, what was experimental. Am I saying that she shouldn't seek other things? No. But we also have to look at the history, like you said, as a therapist, looking at the background. You're talking about also a young lady who was a child celebrity. So I'm sure she probably lived a sheltered life, or a life where she was not really kind of being honed in on how to have relationships with men and things of that nature. It was make that money, baby. You a child star, you making money, you on television, you on shows. So then when she got to a point where she was quote unquote an adult and all those candles were on the cake, it was like, okay, now you grown. Go ahead and get yourself a man. But who's to say somebody was showing or giving that feedback? And this is what we need to do for our generations, to help give them some education on some things. Now, and it's up to them to use it, but to give them the tools to help them navigate whatever it is. And we're just happen to be talking about dating.
okay. You spoke of your 10-year-old daughter,
Hmm.
which you said she want a boyfriend.
Hmm.
Even though I'm sure Tisha Campbell, before, I don't think she was in the business at 10.
No, she
So
was.
Okay, I don't remember seeing her on television at 10. Just my, I don't
Oh yeah,
understand
no,
she.
no. Well, I'm in that industry. No, she started
Okay,
with commercials and little shows back then. Yes, yeah,
okay.
she was young.
That doesn't mean she didn't desire to have a boyfriend at 10.
Oh yeah, but
Oh,
I'm just
oh,
saying who was there talking to her. We
hang
don't
on a
know.
second. Hang on a second. How could we know? So we can't speak
Right,
to
right,
what.
right.
Okay, all right. So my point is this: 10 and 30 and 40 are totally different. Remarkable. And
Mm-hmm,
like I said, hang on a second. Like I said, we want to come in and justify stuff that sometimes just doesn't add up.
mm-hmm,
And I get it, don't get me wrong. Maybe somebody wasn't there to say, hey, you go out on a date and you sit down, he pulls the chair out.
mm-hmm.
But what happens when you become an adult? It's your responsibility at that point. It's not about who didn't tell you. It's not
Right.
about who wasn't there.
Mm-hmm,
It's your responsibility in life to define these things and basically harness these things. But we'll spend more time, and I'm gonna say this more so when it comes to women.
mm-hmm,
We'll spend more time justifying, giving them excuse. If
mm-hmm.
it's a man, oh well, he just realistically. But when it's a woman, we'll find, well, we don't know. But maturity is maturity. And you
Mm-hmm.
spoke yourself, decisions and accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And this, let's go right to accountability. What is one of the biggest things that most men say women have a problem dealing with is accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're having a problem dealing with accountability, how mature are you?
So let
If
me
you're
ask you a question.
I'm
Oh, go
not
ahead. Go
done
ahead.
yet. I'm
Oh,
not done.
okay.
Hold
Okay.
on. And if you're constantly making decisions or good decisions, are
Mm-hmm.
you mature? If you're
Mm-hmm.
not learning from the bad decisions, are you mature? So we
Mm-hmm.
can go back to somebody's childhood all day and pull out, well, one day they did this, whatever the case may be.
Mm,
But when you step into adulthood and step into maturity, it does fall on you as a responsibility to start to do some things and understand some things. And I
mm-hmm.
understand we all didn't get everything we needed in our childhood. Granted, I totally get that. But realistically, a lot of times we want to justify immaturity. When grown
Mm,
people show up immature, we want to justify it. And a lot of us because they haven't taken any time on their own to understand and better themselves and grow. And I'll
yeah.
say it again. A lot of times when it's a woman, we'll justify it, we'll give an excuse, we'll do that, blah, 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 because we
Mm-hmm.
don't want to say what's real and hurt her feelings. We don't. So we try to compare ourselves to her and do everything else, but men do not get the same justification. We
Mm-hmm.
just don't. At some point for a man, we got to learn it on the way. That's what man's supposed to do. What is a woman supposed to do? So again, when she's saying, I didn't know, I never really dated. What were you doing? I don't want to, I'm being honest. I don't want to hear, well, her auntie did this, her grandma. I don't give a crap about that. I don't.
Mm,
I don't, because,
mm,
and I'll just say this real quick. My uncle's drunk alcohol like a fish. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. They were drinking like night and day. So I'm not sitting around with a bottle of booze for, well, my uncle this. That's not justification. I
mm-hmm.
knew as a child, and I grew into my maturity, I wasn't going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Take responsibility, take accountability. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you a question though, because I hear what you're saying. Now, give me an example or give me a roadmap on how a woman can take accountability for learning how to date then. Give me a roadmap. Give me a little bit of insight on how we can be made to be responsible and accountable with learning how to date.
I'll go back to the example that when I asked you the question,
Mm-hmm.
and you said when he talked to you, immediately you went to his physical.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. And then you basically paid attention to his conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you decided to move on and basically spend time with him, consider yourself dating at that point, or I'm not going to say courting, dating,
Mm-hmm.
and things, or you start to see just not adding up, you
Mm-hmm.
should start to feel inside of you there's certain things that I desire, I want, that I need as a woman. If
Mm-hmm.
this is not it, I'm going to remove myself. You should
Okay.
start to determine, hang on a second, I need to be treated a certain way. I need to be respected a certain way. If this person is not doing this, your gut should be telling you that. I'm not going to line up with that. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the next time when someone else comes and basically offers you the opportunity again,
Mm-hmm.
those things that you experienced the first time, you should learn from, grow from, experience, and move on. not fall right back into the same thing, knowing that realistically, this cat is probably like the last cat that was there. It's not much different, probably. He's probably showing you the same things, but you roll through it sometimes thinking that it's going to be different. That's the point. So you basically learn when you speak about dating. Yes, someone asks you if you decide you want to spend time with them, or for whatever reason you choose to, that's fine. But how about when you're spending time, start to understand more about you, what you really want, what you don't want, and don't go in and thinking this just because this person walked up to you and decided to ask to take you out. Don't think immediately he's thinking about I want you for myself. I want you for this. That's not dating. That's not. Here again, that's courting. There's a big
Well, I
difference.
think, and I think so that is so, but that's what I was asking about first and foremost. So I was like, so I just want to hear you to, I'm just hearing you to say that a woman taking accountability for dating, or in Tisha's Campbell example, maybe is it's pretty much through trial and error. For I learned this from this one and then I don't do it again. I learned this from this one. I don't want to do it again. And so are you saying, or am I hearing you to say that we should know after we've experienced something that that's something we don't want to experience again?
Absolutely. But I think you should know that even start now. You know what's
Okay.
impressive? Here's what's impressive to a man. You walk up to her and she goes, you know what? You know, this is who I am. Bang, 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 bang. If you want to be a part of this, we can go out together.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of women don't think that. They don't say that. For the most part, they hear again because they got in the back of their mind, oh, he chose me. He picked me. I'm so gorgeous. I'm so beautiful. That's the first thing they think. They're radiating. I mean, as far as your self-esteem, I get that. Now when you start to roll along, sound like to me, to her, she just went along with the game. She went along
So,
with the game. Hang on a second.
mhm,
What did she stand for? What does she present them that she stands for if you're not dating? What does she present? I just went along. I mean, you can tell a man up front, look, I'm not into having casual sex. I'm not into XYZ. I'm not into those certain things. And if he decides at that point he still wants to go out with you, then that's fine. Or continue to go out, that's fine. But in reality, there's more of a game plan. If you
mhm,
don't, there's more of a game. I'll wait, make him wait. That's game. That's
mhm,
not dating. That's game. So realistically, if you grew up learning game, I guess you're gonna do game. But that's not taking accountability. But when a woman speaks
mhm,
stern about what she is and who she is, a man has no other reason to respect it or not to respect it. And if he respects it, he's going to look at you a different way. And maybe all that visual stuff he has in his mind starts to fall away. This woman is
mhm.
different. She sees herself different. She presents herself different.
Okay. Now, I didn't really grab all of that, but at the same time, I just wanted to make sure that I heard you correctly, kind of, or understood you to say that you kind of learn and you mature through the trial and error. And I guess I'm coming from the perspective of instead of having someone bang their head and keep on going through trial and error and even maybe pick up trauma on the way, how about we stop and help you assess what you're doing that's wrong? Because again, if you're doing something over and over and repetitive, I know we say that it's insanity, but if you don't, and I know we go back and forth with this, but if nobody is showing me better, let me give an example. Now, it's not about dating, but let me just share something with you because I feel like this is accountability, and if it's not, let's talk about it. So I had a child at 18. I didn't know how to be a mom. I left the nest, by force, not by choice at like 15. So I didn't know how to be a mom. And so I desired to, want to be a mom. And so my role model for that, this might be crazy, but I watched the Cosby Show. And I modeled my mothering per se after uh Felicia Rashad in her character. And so that was what I took responsibility in, to find something I connected with so that I can do better or be better. But that was my personal choice. Nobody, made me look at television. It was just my desire to do. However, once I saw that that was, it looked like what mothering was, and I say this all the time, I just don't know what happened during the commercials, but what I saw is what I tried to emulate. And I say two things with that. That's what we do in dating as well. Whatever is in our environment, if we know what dating is from our environment or what it looks like, that's what we pick up. Not so much as because we don't want better, but because we don't know better until we make a choice and say, okay, I want to do that. However, sometimes people are just not genetically, emotionally, or psychologically in a position to be able to make that choice. And then something has to spark, or someone has to spark something in them to see that they want better and do better. And then you help them, right? So, no, I'm not taking away the accountability. But what I'm saying is, I don't believe that somebody should constantly have to beat their head against the brick wall until you almost put yourself in a coma for you to go, okay, now I don't want to hit my head. I get that you shouldn't want to hit your head, that common sense, which is not always common, tells you not to hit your head. But if that's all you know to do, because that's all that's around you, it takes some person to go, would you stop hitting your dang head? That it's like, you know what? I probably should do something different. And again, I know you may have, like not fully get that or agree with that, but I'm just saying we have to sometimes teach people something and again, give them the opportunity to use it or to disregard it. But that's what we as people, and I find you to be, and we talk about this all the time, I find you to be a very highly intelligent and intellectually and emotionally aware male that people under you may not get that. And so that's why we have mentors or teachers or peers that kind of help as we navigate poor decisions, especially if we start making them as a child. We talk about habits. It takes 21 days to create one. So sometimes we get in a habitual place that we get there, we do it so long, it becomes familiar. That's what we know to do. Now, I don't know if Tisha's was having sex with all these people, but she just said she didn't know how to date or she had never been on a date. So I'm thinking, like you said,
No, you add in that she said she didn't know how to date. She
okay, what did
said
she say? She said she
she
didn't date.
she never dated.
Okay,
She
okay,
said
okay.
they came to her and they just started up.
Mm-hmm.
So she said she never dated. Now,
Right, because she didn't do the process. She didn't know the process.
but let me say this remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just me.
Okay.
You can't go back to when you had a child at 18 and try to fuse it into what we're talking about. It's not
Oh,
the same.
really? Why?
It's not the same.
Okay, tell me why.
It's not apples and apples. You're
Okay.
talking about giving birth to a baby and you're
Hmm.
turning motherhood into dating. They're in totally different worlds.
But I was looking at it as accountability, as
Hey,
far as I couldn't
well,
blame nobody if I wasn't a good mom.
no,
I couldn't blame
it's
nobody.
not about blame. Okay, you didn't
Hmm.
understand. You turned towards television. I get that.
Uh huh.
Here again, you're 18 years old with a baby, and what you thought was the right thing to do was to watch Felicia Rashad. That's
Hmm.
your choice.
Hmm.
We're talking about a grown woman. You could say she was a child star, whatever the case may be. Let's keep this in mind. We're talking about a grown woman.
Hmm.
And if she doesn't have certain things that she's understanding in her life, I'm not looking to always go back and blame somebody because it's her responsibility at that point. So when you say to me, well, I was at 18, no one told me, even with that, you learned how. And you spoke of trauma with dating. Dating doesn't necessarily bring trauma. It doesn't have to. So we got to watch, in my opinion, you got to watch how you throw the word trauma around. And
Oh
we
no,
have,
but I didn't say
hey,
that dating brings trauma. Though. I
but
just
you
don't
said
want. I did.
but you
Yeah,
said
no,
the
no,
word
no.
trauma. But my point is, I just want I didn't, I'm saying this because we're starting to throw that word around a little too loosely, in my opinion. So I just want to be careful with that.
Hmm.
Again, at some point, of age, we have to take responsibilities for what we do and how
Mm,
we do it, and get into a certain point in life, and then go, well, I don't, no one told me. That's not taking responsibility. That's not
mm,
taking accountability. It's just not. It's not. Now, if to me you say you let somebody tell you bump your head, that's how you learn, by bumping your head. That's how a
mm.
baby learns to walk. They fall down, they learn they got to get back up. It's a process in life. But what we want is we want everybody to give us the GPS, give us the roadmap, so we're lazy, don't do anything. So
Mm.
again, the dating process, yes, it is a process. You learn as you date what you will accept, what you don't want, and what you're looking for, and what's out there. And if it's
Which
not
takes it
coupled,
back to what I said. It's a process.
Well, I thought I said that word too, but my point
Oh yeah,
again,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's not somebody coming taking you by the hand and telling you how to date. And that's my point. That's not somebody coming
Mm.
up to you. And somebody can come up and tell you, they might tell you incorrectly. How about you learn something on your own?
Mm.
How about you gain some knowledge on your own? Instead of looking for somebody to whisper in your ear and tell you, and half the time what they're going to whisper and tell you is incorrect. As
Mm.
an adult, as we are, it's our responsibility, dating or not, to understand where you're putting yourself, what's going on.
Mm. Wow. Well, I think you know what? Woo, we got so into this. I didn't even realize that we was going in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And but you know what? But the thing about it is, even when we're talking about dating, right? Because I like to bring solutions to the platform, like you said, just kind of like kind of like summarizing a little bit. And I'm thinking, so when we talking about dating, right? It's like we didn't explore a little bit about why people date. And I think so when we look at that, we date for, like you said, the romantic attraction. We looking for like a companionship or a committed relationship or marriage. We looking for like emotional connection and support of that nature and stuff. And so when we look at why we're dating, because we talked about this a little bit from the beginning, it's like we go in already knowing what is it that we want from this. Is it something casual? Is it like, I really not looking for any kind of commitment, not looking to court. I'm just like, you know what, I'm here for the funs and giggles. You know what I mean?
I'm going to say this. I think one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people are dating
Hmm.
because they're afraid to be alone.
Ooh, now that is definitely a reason.
Yeah, we don't deal with loneliness well. We just don't. So realistically, we will place ourselves in a situation where we call dating, which is not advantageous for us because
Hmm.
we rather not be alone.
Mm. Yeah, that I mean, that is definitely a reason. That is, and that's a lot of look, and that's where people find themselves in them situationships because you really didn't want to be there. You didn't take the process of finding out healthy ways to date, or even deal with yourself as to why you wanted to date. Why are you dating? You didn't take time for that, so then you find yourself from partner to partner to partner to partner because you really didn't like spend enough time with yourself to understand why you're getting into this thing called dating. So then I think the best time to date is when you've actually dated yourself. And I'm not talking about what we tell people to, go out on a dinner date by yourself or have a movie by yourself. No, I'm talking about having that we talked about prior, having that emotional nudity, having that understanding of who you are before you want to go out here and entangle somebody else into your life or in your ways or all up into your energy and your space. You got to know what that space is.
Well, I'm going to say this. I have dated myself numerous times.
Mhm. Mhm.
Going to concerts, going to movies, going
Mhm.
to eat by myself. I
Mhm.
don't, and I'm not saying you say something's wrong with it. I don't see that being something wrong. And that's the thing. Who's better to date you than you, realistically?
That's the first and best person. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. That literally is what I'm saying. Is when you get to know you, you don't mind being alone. You don't mind. You don't. You understand that alone is an awesome time. Like, and actually, it might be even better than being in the relationship. But that's what goes back to realizing or looking at why do I or why would I date? So that's what I'm saying. And then once you figure out, why you want to date and you like you said you okay with have dated yourself, then it's like, okay, now what am I expecting from these dates? What is it? Am I looking for as an end result, or am I even looking for an end result? Or like I said, am I out here just kind of having fun and dating, meaning I'm not looking for a process that leads to anything else. I'm not serious. I just want to have companionship or time spent with other people.
There it is. I saw something yesterday and I thought it was funny. I did send it to you and I wanted to get your opinion
Yes.
on this because I thought this was, it's like, it says dating when you're older is like finding a cart at Walmart that has good wheels.
Ooh,
Now,
that was so funny.
how do you interpret that? Remarkable.
Well, me and my little therapeutic mind, right? So
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost, it was so funny because it's like if I look at it from the literal sense, it's like, at our age, 55 plus up, you like, we coming with some broken parts and we done been around the block. So so it's like, trying to find that cart with without that one broken wheel, that one wheel to keep stop you from turning right. You
Exactly.
like, oh my goodness, at this age, am I gonna find them somebody with their original teeth? Is it is it is it some prior mental? I'm sorry, not mental, medical things that's going on? So that's the first thing. But then it also, for me, like I said, from this whole therapeutic psychologically stance, it's like, am I gonna find somebody with all their faculties? Is this cart really going to be able to hold all the stuff that I'm putting in there? Are they going to have their whole mental faculties for this here cart? I thought that was the funniest because it is. It's like, who left? Who is
Yeah.
left? That's like finding that cart, like you said. It's like you keep going through carts till you finally find that one
The
that.
good one. Yeah.
Yes.
It really is funny, but I like your take on it. But I look at it like this: the wobbliness, the bad wills. It's because you probably spoke to this too. A lot of us, we're still carrying pain,
Ooh.
bitterness from our past. We still not have dealt with certain things we have needed to dealt with, and we're wobbling. But yet
Yeah.
we want to date. We want to be out there.
Ooh.
We want
Mm.
someone new, fresh in our life, and we're wobbly for the most part. And now
Mm.
you may have two wobbly people banging up against each other. And at our time in our life now, a lot of us don't have the patience to
Mm-mm.
basically deal with a wobbly cart. We want the
Yeah.
cart to basically run smooth. We want the cart to basically push and it just rolls down the aisle and does things nice and smoothly. And a
Mm.
lot of times, we have not basically reinvent ourselves and reinvest in ourselves to basically fix our wheels, to make our
Mhm.
cart better. But yet we're acting like we did.
Mm.
And it's like, and a lot of us are walking around our cart as wobbly as it can be, and they're like, ain't nothing wrong with my cart. Ain't
Looking
nothing
for a
wrong with
fresh new car, one that
yes,
they
ain't
just.
ain't nothing wrong with my cart. Mm-mm. So it's so when I saw that, to me, it spoke a lot of different things, but it's a lot of reality there.
Mhm.
And my thing is, I think for us at our age, I don't think dating should necessarily be what it really has to be. When I
Mhm.
say that, meaning that you should basically come to the table and say, this is what I offer, this is what I'm looking for.
Mhm.
Does it line up with you? If it
Yeah.
doesn't, why are we spending time wobbling? I mean, realistically, now there's going to be some things we have to accept about another person, and it should go both ways. But I
Yeah.
don't think a lot of people are willing to accept what other people, how their carts are wobbling. And I think for the most part, the people that have the wobbly carts, they're looking for the perfect ones. They don't
Mhm.
realize their carts are the wobbliest.
No, that's funny. Absolutely. And so you know what? It's funny because it takes me here. If you decide that you want to date, figure out um what type of dating you like, right? What is it that you're actually looking for in that date? Be truthful with yourself because then you'll be truthful with the other person, right? I share about the types of dating. So what are you really looking for? Casual, serious, exclusive, marriage? What are you looking for? And then like I said, just kind of look at and check out, why, like I said, why you want to date, because then it helps you understand yourself and you bring your true, authentic self to that dating. And then just kind of to wrap it with this is let me just throw out a couple healthy dating tips. Right when you're dealing with someone, because maybe this will help Tisha. When you're dealing with dating, right, look for mutual respect in that individual. Make sure you have clear and concise understanding about what both of you guys want, right? So there is no situationships. I would say also share boundaries and then make sure that you are open and honest and that you're in like emotional and physical safe spaces with this person because that actually will make sure that the dating, right, whatever level you are, it's going to make it better for you because it's going to go back to what we were talking about early, Mark, that makes you accountable for understanding how to date so that you can take those positive attributes and carry them on and not repeat the same negative behaviors over and over.
Yeah, and don't forget to blame your mama, your auntie. Oh, I love it. I love it.
That
I love it. I
part.
love it. I love it. I love it. Wow.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we covered this as much as we probably possibly can there. Amazing. I don't know
I think
why
we
amazing
did.
is in my head. Remarkable. I can't keep, I know I keep confusing the two, but remarkable. I think we covered as much as
Well,
we
we can
possibly
go
can.
with amazing. Mark, my last name is Ambush, so maybe I'm just remarkably amazing.
I mean, I have no, I don't see nothing wrong with that. I don't. I really don't. We're going to put the lid on this one. And of course, we'll be coming back with another one real soon.
Yes.
So for myself, Mark Elliott,
And I'm
amazing.
Renee Ambush.
Yes, it's no topic left behind. Appreciate you doing what you're doing, giving us an ear. Hang out a bit. We'll be back soon.
Yes.